What's up, everybody? What's up? What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing today? You guys got to come off mute, talk to me. How's everybody doing today?
I'm good in the neighborhood, Michael.
Good in the neighborhood? All right. What's going on, Glenn? I just saw Glenn in class. What's up, Ryan? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Michael? Great. Life is good.
Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, you all, we're gonna hop right into it. It is 6:32. And my goal is to try to communicate as best as I can in the next 60 minutes of some of the things that I believe you need to incorporate in your business. I know, Glenn, uh, you have to kind of fish through some of this to see what you can apply as it's specific to contractors. But hey, business acumen is business acumen, and business knowledge is business knowledge. And so there's so many nuggets and things you can pull out to get ideas. And sometimes God will just speak to you with a general comment that may not be specific to your business. It's kind of like reading the Bible, right? The Bible had its own context, its own history, and its own story, its own characters. But when you read it, it can still speak to you. And so I can liken some of the teachings, and some people will say, Mike, is it specific for contractors? Kind of, yeah, but you may get something out of it. So I would just say this, the old adage is chew the meat, spit out the bones, right? So whatever you need, you get it. Whatever you don't need, just spit it out and keep it moving. So listen, it's great to have you all on. I'm sure a couple more people will jump on before the end of the night. This is, I think, number 3, our third, if not our fourth, I get them mixed up, 3-day challenge. I would like to go ahead and ask for your forgiveness as they do in the old school church. Just take any mistakes for love. Glenn, you heard that before? Take any of my mistakes for love. It's been a long day, y'all. I had a long, full day. And so my brain is a little tired, but my heart is overjoyed to be here with you all because I find purpose in being able to help as many of you all in your businesses as possible. Okay. All right. So let's make sure we keep the energy up. I know it's been a long day for probably everybody, unless you had today off. But let's keep the energy up so we can keep our brains open to receive. All right. Energy up. All right. So if we can quickly go around the room, and we don't always do this, don't get the opportunity, go around the room, do just a quick elevator pitch, your name, company, and what you do and what you look forward to learning out of tonight's session. Real quick, we'll just go around the room. If you haven't gone, it's your turn.
Glenn Jones, Insure Financial Group in the beautiful city of Lakeland, Florida, where we do homeowners, auto, life, commercial, life insurance, and annuity. Our objective right now is our focus is to help people understand why they shouldn't be in 401ks and 403bs. And if that's a good fit to learn for you to learn that, hey, hit us up. Give me a call, 863-225-5650.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, who's next?
I'm Ryan Fuller. I'm out of the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a licensed general contractor. Trying to get into the commercial space and more of the federal government and just understanding government contracts.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, next. Glenn said he trapped with the baby. Just say hello, Glenn. Hey, we don't mind hearing the baby for a second. All right, Elizabeth, are you able to talk? Let's see if she come off mute or not. Elizabeth, if you are able to talk to give us an introduction. Now, you all know one of my pet peeves is we don't come on to listen. We come on to participate. We come on to participate. So we encourage
Hello,
participation.
everybody. I'm sorry.
What's up, Elizabeth? How you doing?
Good. I had walked away from my
Yeah.
Then I didn't know if you had said nothing, but I had figured you did. I was like, let me make sure I speak when I come back. I was looking for a box. The box is back there. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great.
Good.
Awesome. Good to have you back on again. All right. So we got Glenn, Elizabeth, Ryan, and well, we got two Glens. All right. So both Glens were with us at our Mansion Mastermind Summit. So first of all, thank you all for attending. Both of you all have access to the replay, so make sure if you haven't gone and started checking. I think Glenn Jones, you've already started going back. I can tell who watch them and who doesn't. So I know I seen you kind of started looking at them, but go back. Like it was so many gems and so many nuggets that were dropped during that Mansion Mastermind Summit. It was awesome. So anybody else that want those replays, it's $97 still. So we still have that available to you. What's going on, Brittany? What's going on, Brittany? How you doing? Awesome. Good to have you on.
I
Good to
would
have.
like to get. I would definitely like to get the replay.
Okay, awesome, bro. We'll my wife will drop that link up there for you, and we'll work on getting that in the chat. If we can't, we'll email it out. All right. Yeah. So it was a great time. That was our first live event, and it was a phenomenal session. I don't know if either Glenn want to maybe talk about anything that was a positive impact for you, but I know for me, just the speakers, the overall environment, the whole vibe. I think everything was great. Like, I look forward to the next one. Go ahead, Glenn Jones. I see you got your hand up.
Man, I've been wanting to get this out. The mastermind, the $1 Million Mastermind was off the living chain. That's all I could. It was off the living chain. There was so much wealth and gems downloaded and conveyed and shared that I'd had to buy the replay.
Yeah.
Like you said, take the notes.
Yeah.
Because I was exposed to so much.
Yeah.
And I must execute. So in the next 90 days, follow through with execution. It's so much of which I was already in play for the insurance arena, doing many of those things. But because of the overabundance of extra that you gave, I did not join your sign up for your program because I got so much to do, a big list from just
I got
being
no
there.
work to do. Yeah.
So I'm screaming the truth. I'm screaming the truth. If you didn't be a part, you missed it. It's a new mindset. You can't go where you never been. You can't get what you never had if you don't hear something you never heard.
Yeah.
And I see this prospectively speaking for the coming year of 2025 that I probably, if I'm still able to enroll in your program, it will be then after I got all these things done. You know, some of the stuff I told you I'm working on, but I'm looking forward to the next one. And I know I should have bought, now I realize I should have bought the premium package from the beginning, the whole deal. I wouldn't miss it for the life of me the next time. So please keep me in the link, in the loop, so that I can be aware to participate again. I just want to thank you and the Queen for doing something that was absolutely 100% excellence on steroids. I mean, Black professionals doing something excellence on steroids, excellence. So, Michael, thank you, man. I admire you. I appreciate you, the pastor in you. I appreciate the leader, the business acumen, everything that you and the Queen have set up. I just thank God we need what you're doing worse than a dead man needs a grave. Done speaking.
Oh man, thank you, bro. That brought tears to my eyes. I'm over here tearing up. Oh man, thank you. Like I didn't pay him to say that, y'all. Yeah, I mean, we put our heart and soul into that that event, and so I'm so glad. Like we literally everybody's been saying the same thing, and you know, one of my clients, she's not on, but she immediately went on Facebook and was raving about it, and I was like, wow, you know, it was just amazing, just to hear such great feedback, and again, the speakers were phenomenal. And so, you know, this gives me encouragement to keep going and do another one. So I appreciate it. All right, everybody. I know we have some folks that just hopped on. Brittany, Resdora, Christina, Danielle, Zena. Good to have you all on. If you don't mind, I kind of have a rule of thumb when we come on these calls. You can't sit back and just peep me out from a peripheral. I need you to join the family, right? So if you're able to come off mute, tell us who you are, what type of business you have, and what you're learning to get out of the 3-day challenge. So if you haven't gone yet, it means it's your turn. So you can just come off mute. Any of you all that's able to talk, we would like to hear from you as well. All right, let's see who's gonna go first. Let's see who's gonna go first. Come on, Red Dory. You've been with us for a while. You can go ahead. Oh, go ahead,
I'll
Chris.
go,
Go ahead.
Danielle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've joined many of these, and I've always been able to just take away good nuggets for our business. We focus in residential, but the goal is to get to commercial. So I'm just still learning, preparing, and just making time for it. So anytime I see that you're doing anything, if my time permits, I try to jump on and take notes and learn something. So just happy to be here, and I'm on a delayed flight right now at the airport. So I said, hey, what perfect time to spend these next couple hours hearing from you and your wife. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Danielle. All right, Resdor, come on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rich Dora Marlene. I'm the owner of Diamond Solutions Company, and my specialty is in government consulting. So I do a lot of government consultation and procurement with state contracts and federal contracts as well. So that's my specialty. And nice to meet you all. I was in the last 3-day challenge. It was out of this world. I learned so much, and I went back to my my mentorship and told them about it, and a lot of them are going to be coming on. So I just want to let you know that.
Oh my goodness. Thank you all. Thank you all. I promise I'm not paying anybody to say this stuff. All right. All right, Brittany, Zena, you all are up. If you all are able to talk, it'll be awesome. We're going through everyone else. I'll give you just a couple seconds. If you're able to come off mute, let us know a little bit more about yourself.
Hi, I'm Zena Dixon. I'm sorry I can't be on camera. I was not
good.
prepared for this.
All
But
good.
I just wanted to say thank you for even making this available. I'm a managing partner of a construction company, Alchemy Construction, and we basically focus on our own projects for rehabs. But I would like for us to transition to commercial. And when I saw that, because I subscribed to your newsletter, and I got an email that was saying if you looking to get into commercial and you don't know how to transition and you're just getting started, to sign up. So that's why I signed up, and I'm so excited to see so many women on here. It's like really great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like the industry is definitely changing. I've been in the industry since 1997 when I graduated from the University of Florida. And so, heavily male dominated, specifically heavily white male dominated. And over the years, I've just seen it change. And so we're seeing more entrepreneurialism amongst females as well. When I go out on site to many of the projects, more females are showing up actually doing physical work, like painters, drywallers, finishers, like the whole gamut, stucco. I'm seeing more and more females in the industry as well. So it's great to have you all on because we need you. All right. Anybody else want to go? My oldest son, Malachi, has joined us. What's up, son? All right. All right. All right. So we're going to go ahead. You also listen. For those of you that are on here for the very first time, I need to kind of maybe help you understand where we are, where we're going. My goal through the course of the year is to teach on what I call a framework that I have. It's called a S3 framework, S3. S3 is sales, strategy, and systems. I believe you need these three in order to grow your company, to win $1 million contracts, and be successful. Sales, strategies, and systems. Okay. So what I've been doing during these 3-day challenges, which I've had throughout the year. Okay. At the beginning of the year, I focused on sales. Towards the middle of the year, I focused on strategy. And now we're kind of in the systems. So you may kind of see some things that we're talking about operationally, but I don't want you to lose hope and think I didn't talk about what you're looking for. Just realize every tool that I speak of, you're going to need. Every tool that I speak of, you will need. All right. So I know we have some people on here for the very first time. So I just have to actually give you an overview of who I am so you can know a little bit more about me. From Pensacola, Florida. As you can tell, I have an accent. I am country. I get tongue-tied every now and then, but don't count that against me. I graduated from the University of Florida in '97 in building construction. I was licensed as a minister in 1995. I've been married, be 15 years this month, to my wife, Dr. Felicia, who's also on the call. She is a legit earned doctorate in business administration. She's also a partner in the business. I have 4 children. Malachi, who's on with the curly hair, sitting out there chilling. All right. Malachi, Gabriel, Jordan, then my little daughter Olivia, 3 grandkids. I'm also a campus pastor and a CFO for our main church, a former board member of African American Chamber of Commerce of Central Florida, board member of NAMC, which is Minority Contractors Association here. I'm also currently the instructor for the Enterprise Streetwise MBA, which is an executive education program. Glenn Moore is a part of that program, and he's on the call tonight. But I consider myself, having been doing this for a while, contractor, developer, business coach, and a transformational speaker. So a little bit about me. I started at the University of Florida. I started in architecture, moved into construction management. And for most of my career, out of school, I was an estimator. That means I price things. I put pricing on things. So I've been estimating, since 1997. So that's like my specialty. That's my secret power, is pricing jobs. And so back in 2004, we started ACY Contractors. So we'll be 20 years old next month. And so I work for small contractors. I work for large contractors like Skanska. Some of you may have heard them. They are around the country. Matter of fact, they're international. They do buildings, high rises, roads, bridges, everything. So I've worked for them as well. So just a little bit about my experience. A lot of people know me locally because we were known for scaling and growing fast. And so we won multiple awards. I'll let y'all read about that in an email on my website. I don't want to spend time talking about that stuff tonight. Okay, but I do want to go right into some things that I think is very, very important. My business coach, he says this: you can't build your business bigger than you build yourself. And it's really, really important. Those that have been with me have heard this stated over and over again. It's so important that you take the time to build into yourself. Some of us think, hey, let me get my business going, get it bigger, bigger, bigger. But if your mindset doesn't change, if you don't change, then you'll find out that some of your either limiting beliefs or some of the things that you deal with personally will actually limit the growth of your business. I'll give you an example. So for the longest period of time, I grew up as an introvert. I didn't like talking to people. Zena, I think I heard on one of your posts, like you was talking about how you are introverted as well. And, sometimes walking in that, we think is part of who we are and our personality. And what I realized, it showed up in my business, where I wouldn't confront subcontractors that were causing my jobs to go late, or subcontractors that was costing me money. I'll let things slide. Or an employee that did something wrong, I wouldn't maybe say something the first time it showed up. That I waited till it got so bad that I had to address it because I was non-confrontational. And I realized what happened that limited my business from growing because it was something in me. And so not until I started doing the work and realizing, Michael, you got to start working on these things and stop blaming it on your personality. Now that was better than I can't get no amens. Y'all know I'm churchy. Y'all know I'm churchy. I can't get no amens.
That was a word.
What's going on? And so I realized, like, Michael, you're limiting your own self because you're accepting where you are instead of saying, let me grow, let me get past this. If I'm going to speak, if I'm going to help other businesses, right, I have to be more comfortable speaking in front of other people. And so I have to work on it. And what I learned, Danielle, is that oftentimes we're not comfortable because we just don't have the experience yet. We're not comfortable because we haven't practiced enough. And the more we practice, the more we do something, we're more competitive, repetitive, we do it. All of a sudden we become more comfortable. Then we start being more just assertive, knowing that, you know what, I can do this. Then we overcome the imposter syndrome, thinking that maybe I'm not really where people think I am. And then we actually realize, no, I know this stuff. Like, I'm like, Michael, you've done millions of dollars in contracts. You've been in business for 20 years. You've helped so many people. And I finally, the light bulb went off. Like, Michael, you can really do this. And so all of us have our own personal challenges, our own things that we go through. But I want to make sure everybody on this call realizes you can write every strategy in the world down. You can write every tactic in the world down, right? I can actually take all parts of my business and incorporate it into yours. And guess what? If you don't change you, the business won't change. It's so quiet, right? So hopefully everybody got something out of that. All right. So that's really, really important. Okay. So tonight, let's talk about tonight. You know, sales strategy and systems. That's why we're here. In February, we talked about sales. April, we talked about sales and strategy. June, we talked about strategy. And so the next 3 nights, and I want everybody to show up all 3 nights. I know some of you all have some things happening, but do what you can to come back, right? I know Rest Door, she's been in previous challenges and she was like, man, I got to come back every night. And she's still coming back, y'all. So listen, in case you have to miss something, we do have the QR code. If you want to take a quick picture of that or you want to grab that link, right? So you can access all of the past challenges as well. Okay, so it's really inexpensive. It's only $47. And matter of fact, once you purchase this, once you'll have access to the next challenge that I'll do also in October. So we have one more challenge for the year in October. We already have those dates. So if you want to grab everything, it's $47. You get all the recordings. All right. All right. Now, let's talk about this. All right, y'all still with me? All right, I gotta do a room check. Everybody still with me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
So let's talk about some common misconceptions. Okay, and this is really good. What's up, Corey? Julian, what's up, bro? I didn't see y'all hop on. All right, so what's really, really important, especially for those that are trying to move from residential to commercial, or trying to move from doing 5 figures to 6 or 6 to 7, right? It's all good. Okay, so it's really, really important to look at what are these misconceptions. Number one, that you can build it without a plan. Okay, let me unpack that. I promise y'all, can y'all just be patient with me for a minute and let me give you what you need, and then I promise I'll give you what you want. That sounds like a rap song, Malachi. Anyway, you have to recognize that you cannot grow your business, number one, without a plan. Number two, without a system. You can't even grow your own projects and be successful completing them without a plan and without a system. Now, I know when we first started, we were doing residential construction, like some of you. We went in and renovated homes. That was the low-hanging fruit projects that we could easily get. And I realized, Danielle, that we would go in and we would just go in and just get it done. Like, go get the materials, Just go get it done. Like maybe we had a set of drawings, but you know, we didn't really have contracts with our subcontractors. You know, we hardly ever followed up to get insurance certificates. We just got it done. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Right, Malachi, you know what I'm talking about? We just get it done. And what'll happen is over a period of time, you'll realize, okay, there are consequences for operating that way, right? There's consequences for not having paperwork. There's consequences for not having a paper trail. There's consequences for when things go wrong and you don't have a system, right? That's when the things happen. And so it's a misconception that you can continue to build it without a plan or a system. Another misconception that anybody can do it, right? Some people get in this game and think, oh, such and such did it, surely I can do it. That's a misconception. Another misconception that the skills you have right now is enough. I believe all of you all are on here because you recognize the skills I have are not enough. But a lot of people believe I can continue to grow. I can continue to try to scale. That's a whole different definition, right? I can scale because that word is thrown out loosely. I can scale my business and not increase or develop more skills. And that's false. All right. Another misconception, bigger projects mean more profit. Bigger projects mean more profit. So I had a student that had stated, hey, Michael, I had a really bad year, you know, last year, you know, I really didn't have a lot of sales that I was projecting. And I said, okay, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, I really had a bad year. I lost like $2 million. I'm like, huh? And you still in business? And so I actually sat down and looked at his financials. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? You actually had a profit at the end of the year. And he had a 20% profit. How many of you all would like a 20% profit at the end of the year? And I'm like, hold up. What are you talking about? He said, yeah, the year before I did twice as much. So he went from 3 million in revenue down to 1 million in revenue, but his profit dollar amount was the same. I said, bro, do you not realize that you actually profited more margin this year, though you did less revenue? He didn't get it. I was like, actually, the banks love it because you actually made more money in respect of your revenues. And I just want to say this. Sometimes if we don't really know how to read financial statements, we don't understand how to know our numbers, it actually will be our detriment. And so I want to encourage you all, if you don't know a lot about accounting, I don't care how many bookkeepers you hire, I don't care what CPAs you hire, start working on learning accounting. All right? Okay. But bigger projects do not mean more profit. So I want you all to be careful with that. Because sometimes you think, oh, let me get $1 million job. Well, did you know we had one of our speakers in, and Scott Moss, just doing $3 billion worth of revenue? Do y'all know that his profit margins are like 1%? Like, for most of us to operate at 1%, we're like, man, but that's more money. He has more money. Yes, but the margins are smaller. So I want you to maybe change the way you think about things and realize that sometimes having a profitable job, even though it may be small in revenue, may be just as good as a larger project in revenue with smaller margins. Are y'all with me? Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Here's the last misconception, is that software isn't necessary. Now, for all of us that started like I did, where you barely had any money when you started, right? You just getting the business off the ground. You had a vision, you had a passion. Maybe some of you heard from the Lord. Right? The Lord said, go ahead and start that business. Wherever you are, some of us just know how to get it. Some of us just know how to hustle. But I want you to recognize this. You may start there, but don't stay there. You may start there, but don't stay there. All right. So today we want to talk about systems, and I want to talk about the life cycle of a project. Okay. So I'm going to go through what I call a checklist, and those that are part of the mentorship, program, you'll get this checklist as part of your done for you documents. Okay. So we have different levels of the mentorship. We'll talk about that later, but we have different levels, but we also have a part where we're doing done for you documents. And so you'll actually get this entire checklist. So what I'm doing over the next 3 days, today I'm talking about pre-construction. So moving from once you do the sale until you actually start the project in the field. So we're gonna go through pre-construction. Tomorrow, we're gonna talk about construction, the checklist you should have in place. So when you get ready to start to the time you finish the job, right? And then the third day, we're gonna talk about post-construction, or what's also known as closeout, meaning what are those last things you need to do at the end of the job in order to get it done, over with, and move on to the next one. All right, really, really, really important. So a lot of you, because you were not formally trained. What do you mean by that, Mike? Formally trained. I want to see a show of hands, those that have been formally trained in construction, meaning you went to a construction program at a university or an architecture or engineering program at a university. When you finished that program, you went to work for a construction contractor before you started your business. Show of hands. Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Okay, who's that? Is that Corey? All right, Corey, what's up? All right, Corey, I can't see my chat. Dr. Felicia, you may have to widen my chat out for me.
Can you
So
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay, yeah. And I couldn't get my camera working.
It's all good. What school you went to?
Fair State University up in Michigan.
Okay, in Michigan. Okay.
Yeah,
And what program?
construction
What program?
management program.
Awesome. And then after you finished that, then you did what?
Went to work for Big GC, Walbridge.
Oh yeah, I know Walbridge. They're huge. Okay. So Walbridge is international too, just like Skanska. So the only other person that's on this call that has a similar path that I had is Corey. So Corey probably gonna know a lot of the stuff I teach. All right. And so it's really, really important that I recognize we have a huge gap in our community that most of us, right? We didn't go the traditional path. We don't have formal education, formal learning. Like, we were taught all this. We work for commercial companies and we've learned all this stuff. Okay. So a lot of what you're going to hear is how we professionally do things in the commercial space. Okay. For those that are in the residential space, you're going to be able to, what I say, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Some of these things you want to incorporate, some of these things you want to say, hey, let me hold on to that. And I realize I'll incorporate it or implement it as I grow. Are y'all with me? Yes, yes. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Question.
Yeah.
When you asked in the beginning about something to cover, it dawned on me when you mentioned contracts with subcontractors. We had a situation on a job where one of the guys got hurt. He cut himself. He had to go to the hospital. And when we went on the job, we found alcohol in bottles. And so I reached out to him. He said he was fine. There's no issues. I mean, he's not doing any claims against us or anything. But I haven't had the conversation about to any of the crews or the subs. Like, there was beer bottles, there was vodka bottles. I'm just shocked when my project manager went on site and saw, like, what y'all doing here? So will that be addressed, how you deal with that when you talk about systems and contracts and things like that? Because I haven't dealt with it yet, but I need to deal with it because that could have been a bigger issue than it was.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do this. So normally what I do at the end of the session, we'll do random Q&A, right? And you're a client. So, yes, we'll answer. Let me answer your question. So I'm gonna go through my presentation, then we're gonna take Q&A, and I'm gonna come back to that question. I answer any question. Like, I'm on here to help y'all, period. Right? So if you have a general question that maybe is off topic, I'm cool with that. I have no issue with it, for real. Like, for real. I hate being a part of a mentorship and you have needs and you have questions and you can't get them answered. Like, to me, that's worthless. So yeah, let me do that at the end. I do want to address that. I actually had a similar situation, so I'll talk to you about how I handle it. Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about tonight. Its focus is pre-construction. So once you have the job, So let's talk through it a little bit. Then I'm gonna put my slide up, and then you all that's taking notes can take notes. But let's talk about it. For those that are out there right now, you're doing work. Once you have the sale, right? You got the job. What are you doing next? What's the first thing you do? Let's talk. Come off mute. Let's talk. Come off mute. What's the first thing you're doing? Come on, y'all. What's the first thing?
Diagram of the site. You want to see what the
Okay.
site look like.
Love it. Diagram of the site. What else? What's the next thing?
Material. What's needed.
Okay? What else?
This is
Come on,
already
y'all.
sold. We already got the contract, you saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Somebody else. What's the next thing you're doing?
Coverage. How many guys you need?
All right. How many people you need? Yeah. Corey, go ahead.
Schedule. I'm planning out the construction schedule
Yes.
because that's going
Schedule.
to play a part.
Yes. What else? Come on, Julian, Zena, Elizabeth, Ryan. Where y'all
What's
at?
gonna be
Collecting the
spent?
deposit.
Okay, collect deposit. That's very prominent on the residential side. Commercial side, there's no deposits hardly ever, unless you're working with a private client, right? An independent private client. Most corporations don't do deposits. Sometimes you can get one. Okay, but yes, getting deposit, invoicing. What else?
Permits, insurance,
Okay, permits,
schedule,
insurance.
schedule
Okay,
and demo.
okay. All right. So demo is once you actually start construction. So
Yeah,
before you actually hit the field, okay, what else? What else? Permits, insurance. I like it. What else?
your architectural plans.
All right. I like it. What else you gonna do with those architectural plans?
Probably do a takeoff.
Okay. So maybe what I call a retake off, because hopefully, for those that haven't been around me, hopefully when you priced it, you did a takeoff the first time. This is what I realized was not common, is that a lot of us in our community, we are giving proposals based on the market and not based on what we know the cost would be. Right? Danielle, we went through this exercise once before, I believe, right? We know what the market says, or we say, hey, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, tell me what's your budget, and then let me see if I can figure it out. Right? How many of us doing it like that? Right? And so I'm gonna teach you how to actually figure your cost first, then okay, figure out, okay, what is the markup you believe is at market rate. That's how you develop your estimate and then go to contract with that number. All right. But okay, let's say you got your contract, you already went through the estimate the first time. Maybe, as Zena says, you're going to do another estimate. Why? Come on, y'all.
This is
Why?
giving you more accurate numbers because I think when you first walk through, you get a SAL, and that's kind of like more higher level. But then when
Yeah,
you get actual architectural plans, you have more granular information to work with.
yeah. Okay, so let me add to what Zena said. So let's say, for instance, you had the architectural plans the first time.
Okay.
Most of the time, what I found out in my experience, when you look at the job the second time, you see something that you didn't see before. You realize, oh, maybe I forgot this. Oh, maybe it's going to take a little bit longer because there's more things um, that are required. Oh, maybe watch this, as Malachi said, and I'm proud to hear that, son. Like Malachi said, maybe I need to look at my site logistics first. And I realized, okay, it's going to take longer to do certain things because I have to maybe park and walk a long way, or maybe I have to deliver materials at a certain time. So now you start getting into the actual project, right? And start thinking through exactly how you're going to build it. And now all of a sudden you look at the drawings differently. Y'all with me? So all of these things, all great examples. Now, let me ask you all this question. Y'all still with me? We got to keep the energy high. I know it's the evening time, right? Keep the
Be
energy high,
focused.
right? You got
Yep,
to focus. So
go with
stay
you.
with me. Stay with me. How many of you have all of this documented as a checklist?
I do now.
Awesome. 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 How many, like, we have to, you all, we have to develop these checklists. Why? It keeps us from losing money. All right. It keeps us from losing money. I anytime I skip my checklist, I lose money. Every time I skip my checklist, I lose money. Every time I think I don't need to re-estimate this job, I'll be all right. I know I got it. Every time I lose money. So let me help you. Why is this important? Why is this important? Why is this important? Because if I re-estimate my job and I know that I have an issue, I can fix it now versus waiting to the end of the job trying to figure out what I'm going to do. All right. So let me show you my screen. I'm gonna go through a couple of these and what I'm gonna do.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So you said that you should have done your takeoff initially, but
Yes.
typically people, when they hire you to do a rehab, they won't have the plans immediately because they don't know if they're going to close on a property. Once they close on a property, they might engage with their architect at that point. But
Yeah.
you've already walked through with them as a contractor to give them, like, like I said, the scope of work.
Right.
At that time, do you not give them the estimate and you wait until you get the plans and then you walk through again? I'm just trying to wrap my head
Okay.
around.
No, I understand. So your question is because of your specific industry, right? So let's say the commercial industry. The commercial industry, we don't really have that process in those steps. And so to your point, there's two options you have. Two options you have. Because you could do the latter, which was I will come back to you with the final price once we actually have the drawings. Now, I know some of you have been on this call or been in this situation before where you do what's called, here's a word for you, conceptual estimate or a budget, right? Are y'all with me? You do a conceptual estimate or a budget. You give the client the price. Then they want to hire you for that price. Now, how many of you accepted that price and then realized later on, once you got more information, it was going to cost more? Anybody or just me? Right? And then you go back to the client like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. It's going to cost more money. And then they're mad and upset with you. Like, well, why? Okay, so here's the best practice, Zena. The best practice is you can give them a budget estimate, and I would qualify in that proposal, okay, that the price may change based on the final plans being approved, not even just being issued by the architect, but by the final plans being approved by the permitting department.
That's good because it changes and they want you to make adjustments.
Exactly.
All the time.
So, right, all the time. So it's really, really important that you actually have that caveat in your proposal. So just state that on top of your proposal. We're going to give you a budget proposal. That's all it's for budgeting purposes only. If you want to carry your own contingency, just in case there are change orders, which may occur, right? That protects you as the owner. However, I can only give you the information I'm aware of. So if we get drawings, we have to do more things, I'm covered. And then you don't have to worry about feeling like you're cheating somebody because you're asking for more money. Because honestly, y'all, if you go to contract to that budget price and you don't call it a budget, you're supposed to do that job for that amount. That's what's ethical.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know some of us, we try to wiggle out of it and say, no, it's going to cost more money. I need more money. And that's great. However, I just want you to understand there's a better way to do it. And I kind of gave you that. All right. So great job, Zena. I'm glad you have a checklist. Everybody, please start developing. What's your checklist of all the things you need to do before you actually get in the field? Why is this important? Because I'm trying to build 3,500 Black-owned contractors to win $1 million contracts. And what does that mean? That means you need to be prepared to grow your business. And so if you don't have systems in place, right, how are you going to grow? Because everything's going to ride on you doing it. Everything's going to ride, right, Ryan, on you completing the task, you having the knowledge, you having the information, and you need to be able to put the systems in place for staff, for people, others to do it. So as you start going through these things, maybe you create a loom. Anybody know what loom is? Loom, not Zoom with a Z, but a L, loom. Maybe you use that software to video record yourself going through the process of doing whatever task that is. So now not only you have a document, but you're doing a video of yourself doing it. And so anytime you hire somebody, you don't have to teach them or explain them in a long period of time. Maybe you review it with them once. Hey, did you go watch the loom? Now you have documentation. Now you have a system of how you want it done in your company. Does that make sense? Yes, yes.
Yes.
All right, good. So let me go to my couple of things. Some of you all mentioned some of this stuff already. Preliminary inspection. So if it's a renovation, a rehab, I need to go check things out. Now, this is what I learned doing school projects here in Orange County. We were changing out what's called VAVs, variable air volume dampers. We're changing out VAVs, electric duct heaters. They're all above ceilings, okay? And so you wouldn't know what was up there. Oftentimes we had conflicts with sprinkler pipes, conflicts with plumbing pipes, conflicts with low voltage cables, power cables, high voltage, like it's always an issue. So what we had to learn, even though we have a set of drawings, we need to actually investigate. Let's see what's going to stop us from completing the task, right? So you need to make sure you do your preliminary investigation. All right. If you are doing new construction, or maybe you're doing any underground utilities, you need to do site investigation, right? You need to check it, like you as well, Malachi, right? How can you go see where all the lines are? Maybe you notice that there's some storm manholes that's near some of the areas you have to dig, and that's a sign that it may be a conflict. Like you actually have to make this a practice. So why am I telling you all of this? Because you want to create a system of what you're going to do every time you get ready to start a job. Are you with me? All right, program verification, okay, of the scope, whatever the scope's going to be. This is really, really, really important. I can't tell you how many times that a client thought we were going to do one thing and I thought we were going to do something else. So you got to verify, hey, what's the actual intent of what you want to do? Let's sit down and verify that. Let's sign off on that. Let's talk about logistics. Malachi, you talked about that. Logistics, what does that look like? Right? When we talk about how we're going to actually lay the project out. Where I'm going to put things on the job. Let me give you an example. So this was a job that we were looking at doing years ago. This was a parking garage here, and this building downtown, I think it was maybe 10, 11 stories up, and we had to replace these rooftop units. And we noticed that there was only a certain amount of ways to actually fly the rooftop units up there. So we was like, hey, let's put a mobile crane out here and we'll be able to hoist those units up on the roof with a mobile crane. Well, come to find out, we would have to actually shut down the road. The city said, no, you're not going to be able to shut down the road. So it was like, well, what's another alternative? Well, we got to bring these in with a helicopter. Say what? We got to fly in these rooftop units with a helicopter. Okay. All right. So what we had to do was develop, hey, what's going to be our parking area, our trailer area? Like where we're going to hoist, where we're going to actually drop materials to a dumpster. Where's all of our 100 employees or 100 workers that work for all the subcontractors? Where they going to park? Do they have to be bussed in? They're going to walk in? Like, we have to actually come up with a logistics plan of what actually happens. And so for some of you, as you continue to grow, you need to start thinking about, hey, these are some things that may actually add money to the job. And so let me actually go through this process even before I put the price together. But definitely once I have the contract, I need to come up with a plan on how we're going to actually get the job done. All right. So that's like a little logistics plan. Okay. All right. Did that help anybody?
Yes, I have a question
Yes.
really quick. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so I wanted to know, do you already have the logistics sort of worked out when you submit the bid, or you just submit your numbers?
Great question. Great question. You know, I love this question, Elizabeth. You know why? Because this is where oftentimes our expectation and our client's expectation do not align.
Okay.
Because most of the time they think whatever it is, I don't care,
Yes,
whatever
it
you have to
does.
do, you included it in your price. Right? So if I'm dealing with a Disney and you have to bus employees from 2 miles away because only the superintendent can park on site. Like, did we talk about that? Because that's cost. So to answer your question, it's very important to think through what would be your logistics. So most of us, we kind of think through some of the things
Checklist.
it would take, right, to build a job, but you have to be more defined. Sometimes we, especially large jobs, you need to actually lay it out. Take an aerial. That's all I did. I use you can use Google Earth. You can use any type of aerial from a Google map or anything like that, whatever map you want to use. Take that aerial, just do a, I don't know if you all know how to use the snipping tool or copy and paste, and you can put it in a PDF and mark it up. That's all we do, and mark it up. Show where you're gonna do things. Think about how you're gonna lay down materials. If you need a storage trailer, right, a Connex, or where's your office going to be? Are you going to have an office on site? Where are your portalets going to be? Right? Will your trucks be able to get in? You know, when you really start doing real large jobs, right? Do you have a crane path for your crane to come in? Because maybe you got sandy soils and you're going to have to put rock down in order for the crane to have a path. Like, you got to start thinking, how am I going to actually build this job? And that helps you to actually price it, what we call general requirements. Okay. So once you have all of that, you should make sure that you're specifically telling that client, I have included this, but I have excluded these other things. So, like, for instance, the most common thing I always exclude is utilities. I don't have water, I don't have power. The client's responsible for their own power bill, own water bill, right? So what other things like that are you not going to include in order to get their job done? So you should have those clarifications in your proposal. Those things should also carry over into the contract. So you're not required to do it. Now, if they come back and say, hey, I see you said you excluded dumpsters. Well, I need you to include that. Now it's a conversation. Now, in one of my other sessions, I gave this as a best practice. Anybody want to know what that best practice is? I gave this as a best practice. Who want to know? Let's see, anybody. I gotta keep
Yes, I
y'all.
want to know.
I gotta
I
keep
got
y'all
it. Here.
engaged. I gotta keep you engaged, right?
I got it.
So best practice is whatever you exclude, if at possible, provide an ad price for it. What do you mean, Michael? So let's say I excluded dumpsters. And what I would do, I would have in my clarifications on my proposal, I excluded dumpsters, and I would say, if required, add, I don't know, $500 per haul, or add $10,000 total for the entire project. Now, I didn't prepare to tell you this, but y'all want to know a secret? A secret,
Yes.
a secret strategy is you can actually become more competitive by actually pulling more scope out to make your base number lower, and then give them an ad. So let them figure out the math. What I've noticed is sometimes some clients realize, hey, if I can exclude some things, I actually can get what I really want cheaper. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I can't hear nobody. I can't hear no. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. So
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
you, so the add-ons would be things that would typically be a part of the job, but you're strategically
There we go.
packaging the job so that the price is attractive, and then the client can do those add-ons because it's going to make the job go easier and faster.
Yeah, I mean, what I've noticed is that all of us like convenience, and some of us will prioritize what we want to pay for, right? It's human psychology. And so what I've noticed over the years is that sometimes, especially when they're getting a price or a number from somebody else, I wouldn't try to pull the wool over their eyes or anything like that, but we're doing human psychology. We're making that big, bold base bid, base price number, one price, and we're excluding some of these other things. They may say, hey, I don't really need it, or maybe I can carry it myself. Why price yourself out of a job when somebody else is already gonna potentially be lower than you? Just be strategic and say, hey, I excluded this, but if it's needed, here's a price for it. Or you can say, if it's needed, please follow up with the call. And then that gives you an opportunity to still negotiate that number. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Pop. That's good information.
That's good.
Great information.
Oh. All right. All right. So here's some other things, okay, on your checklist. I hope you all are writing some of this stuff down. All right. Confirm or verify any of your architect engineers' responses. So one thing I've noticed, y'all, over the past 20 years, architects are doing less because they're getting paid less, right? They're doing less because they're getting paid less. So what do you mean by confirm, verify architect engineer responses? Anybody have an idea what I'm talking about? Any ideas? Any ideas? Okay, no. So have you ever asked the architect a question and they give you an answer and you're like, I don't think that's correct? Anybody? They give you a response and you're like, well, that doesn't match the field conditions that we have. And what I've noticed is sometimes architects and engineers, they have never visited the site and they're just working off a set of drawings and actually haven't verified the actual field conditions. And that's what happens once you get into construction, especially on rehabs and remodels. Once you get into construction, start doing all this work and you realize, okay, this don't go together. And now you have a problem. Now you have delays, right? Now that's costing you more money because you're on the job longer than you plan to be on, right? And so if it's not a true change to the project, you can't recapture your costs. So now you just lost money because the architect gave you the wrong answer.
And then sometimes if they give you the wrong answer, or if the wrong things are in the plans, when you go the permitting, they may hold up your job because they want you to change some things in the plans.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Zena. That was great, right? So great example. Great example. So that's why before the job starts, you need to start investigating. You need to start sending these RFIs. You need to start checking these things to make sure the architect is right. Is this actually going to work? I can't tell you how many jobs that measurements were off. Because we supposed to field verify everything because the architect now they put it in the notes. GC to field verify measurements because they don't want to be responsible for it because they so often have been wrong. So I want you to start thinking about that. What things can I confirm ahead of time, right? To ensure that what the architect stated, engineer stated was actually correct. All right. The next thing that we did talk about already was updating the budget. So we kind of talked about Zena's scenario. And let me just touch on this for just a quick second. So Corey knows in the estimating process, when you work on the commercial side and you actually are hired through what's called a RFP process, request for a proposal, normally they will have you help them develop their budget, which means they may have an initial set of drawings that you're pricing. Maybe you get some subcontractor input, you put a price together, and then those drawings go through what's called the development phases. So they go to what's called DD, design development, then they go into construction drawings, okay? And then they go to permit drawings. So that's kind of the phases as they go through development. Now, what happens is as changes are made during each phase, you have to update the budget. Now, it's really, really important that you're capturing those dollars and you're capturing those scope changes so you can identify, hey, client, this mechanical number went up because the architect changed the specification on this air unit, right? So you start thinking through these things. So now you have backup why the price changed. There's nothing worse than a client getting hit with an increase of price and you can't tell them why. Okay, I don't know why. I just got a different number. No, no, tell them why. That's your job. Okay. All right, let me keep going. Identify long lead items. Okay, those things that's gonna take a while. So even before I go to contract, every subcontractor has to give me a schedule. Are y'all listening? Everybody on here should get this. Every subcontractor should give you their schedule. Because what I found out, Rich Door, is that when you send them your schedule, Danielle, they'll all tell you, oh yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can do that. They'll all tell you, yes, it's no problem with your schedule. No, tell me, how do you see doing the job? And so, Corey, are you familiar with doing post-bid interviews?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So for everybody else, post-bid interviews, right? So when you work for a large commercial company, this is like another standard, all right? This is not on this document, but I want you to put it on your checklist. Post-bid interviews, what is that? That means we're going through who we identified as the subcontractor we want to use, and we're making sure that everything we included in our budget, using their number, they have everything we need them to have. That makes sense. So I hope I don't bore you all with this, but I feel like I need to say it. So this is what I do. I actually do a detailed takeoff of the whole job myself, and I use that as my checklist. All right. How many of you that's on the call cannot do your own estimates or your own? Well, let me be more specific. Cannot do your own quantity takeoff. I need to know.
Me.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Danielle, thank you for your honesty. Who else? Anybody else? Everybody else can do your own quantity takeoffs for everything. Okay, I'm about to trip somebody up. Okay, so, okay, now Malachi, I know you're in the specialized field, so low voltage. Okay, so that's kind of more specialized. For those that are general contractors, are you able to take off mechanical estimates? Are you able to take off electrical estimates? Are you able to
No.
take off plumbing? Okay.
No.
All right. So this is what would be helpful for you. You got to learn how to read blueprints. Once you learn how to read blueprints, you'll be okay. The most important thing is, even if you cannot price it, still be able to scope it. That was good. That was good. That was good. Even if you can't price it, be able to what?
Scope it.
Scope it. What does that mean? Res Door, you better write that down. That's going to help some of your clients, right? You have to scope it. What does that mean? So every note, I literally, Zena, I'll write down every note on an Excel document that I see on the drawings. I'll write down everything I visually see. Like if I see on the plumbing drawings, like I'll see the sanitary 3-inch sanitary line, you know, 2-inch sanitary line, you know, 3/4 inch copper water line. I'm gonna write all that stuff down. Even if I don't have the software to quantify it, I'm gonna write it down because I know I have to do it. That's called scope. So I'm looking for everything that's in the drawings and I'm listing all the scope, okay? And then I use another column to identify the CSI division. Or you can actually create your own codes if you want. Let's say you wanted to do all plumbing. You can just say plumbing. So I'll have plumbing in one cell, then next over I'll have 3/4 inch copper pipe. So what I'll do, I'll create a complete list of all of these items. I'll sort it by each scope of each trade. And then I'll take that and I'll actually sit down with the successful subcontractor. Now I say, hey, you can email it ahead of time too. I say, did you include this? Yes or no? So this is a best practice. I didn't plan to talk about this, but I believe the Lord put it on my heart to share it. Right? What I would do, y'all, I would use this as my scope sheet and I would email it over, okay, to them ahead of time. Say, hey, did you include these things? They can check off yes or no. Why is this beneficial? Please, somebody tell me why.
To avoid discrepancies.
Okay, exactly. To avoid discrepancies, because you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen if you don't
Wrong
do it?
measurements.
Okay, what else? What's going to happen if you don't do this?
Pricing.
Come
You're
on,
gonna
Julie.
pay for it.
You going to pay for it? What else? Come on, somebody. All right, I'll give you the answer. Y'all give up? You got to tap in.
I ain't gonna get frustrated and not want to pay.
Right? So think about it. At the end of the job, everybody's looking around saying, well, who's doing that? And you go to your plumber and say, hey, I thought you included that. Your plumber said, I didn't include that.
Gaps.
Right? Corey, you had that happen?
Oh yeah, I experienced that.
I didn't include that. And you're at the end of the job. Now all of a sudden, that estimate that you had went out the window. That budget you had went out the window because you didn't do this first.
Can you explain like a example of when that would happen? Because usually, well, in my experience, I hired my subs and I just, we getting a whole new stack in here and we're gonna replace some pipes and this, that, and other thing. And they
Yeah,
just take care of it. Like I know
yeah,
that, they tell me, well, you take care of the fixtures, we'll install them,
yeah,
but everything else relative to the job, time
yeah,
and materials, we'll take care of based on, the price that we gave you.
yeah.
So in what scenario would that occur that
Okay.
they say,
I got a perfect answer for it.
thank you.
You have been blessed that you've been that you have been working with great subcontractors that honor you. Okay, that's answer number one. So just tell the Lord, thank you. Thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Right. So what happens often, and it happens more often on the commercial side, but it does happen on the residential side. Okay. Like I said, sometimes it's just bad people, because you got to realize that some people don't communicate effectively on their proposals, what they included and what they didn't include. So in their minds, they're saying, hey, I don't do, let's say, for instance, the sanitary line, right? Well, there's an industry standard how far out from the building the plumber should stop for the sanitary line or the plumbing domestic water line. Anybody want to guess? I know some of y'all should know this. There's an industry standard.
5 feet outside the building.
Thank you, Corey. 5 feet.
I didn't hear it.
Right? So normally 5 feet outside of the building is an industry standard, but everybody doesn't go by the industry standards. And so maybe the site work contractor will say, hey, I'll bring in, you know, the main sewer line from the city. I'll bring it in up to the building, but I'm only going to bring it up to 10 feet. And sometimes they don't clarify that in their proposal. And you didn't know. Now you have a problem. You're missing 5 feet. Right? And the plumber's like, well, I'm not taking it that far out. And now you have a scope gap. So this kind of, I don't know if that was a good enough example, but that's one example. Corey, I don't know if you care to share your example. Elizabeth, I see you coming off mute. You got an example or no?
You said the industry standard is 5 feet outside
Yeah.
that's out of what?
Outside of the building.
And you just said the guy, what was the example you gave? So you said 10 feet, so wouldn't he be over?
So no, because he basically is 10 foot outside the building. So let me see. If my house is here, right? And the plumber, he does all the work inside the house, right? And then he's going to extend that sanitary line to only 5 foot outside the building, but that's 5 foot, right? But my site guy, he's bringing it from the street over here, and he's getting within 10 foot of the building. So you're missing 5 feet.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes you run into cases like that. I mean, that may not be the best example, but that was an example. Like there's so many cases where somebody is going to start something and somebody else supposed to pick up.
It could be a proposal gap, and then towards the end, it could be a different gap, price gap.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
$1,000 or something like that.
Exactly.
Somebody
A great example, right? So this is why the best practice, y'all with me, is to go ahead, document this, all the scope. I like to use an Excel spreadsheet because you can put the boxes around it and make it like a check box, you know, where they have one column be yes, one column be no. Who needs to see that visual? Or y'all
Me.
good? Okay. Let me do that real quick. I hadn't planned to do this, so anybody else other than Zena? Everybody else got it. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna just kind of give you an example. Real quick, y'all. Real quick. I don't know if I can make this big enough. Can you all see this? Everybody can see my spreadsheet?
Yeah, it's small, but yeah.
I don't see, because I'm not a huge Mac user. Anybody know how to make this bigger? Oh Lord. All right.
Change your Zoom view to the speaker. When you speak, it'll make you the biggest screen instead of the rest of us. And then the view is bigger.
I think I know how to do that. Okay.
Not you, the individual Zoom participant.
I'm with you. Okay, yeah, y'all have to use your fingers to. Oh, I see something. Never mind. I got something else. All right, here we go. All right. So here's an example. So normally I would say you can call it CSI division, or you can call it category. Y'all still see my screen? And then I'm calling this scope description. Right. And then if I had quantities, I'll do that unit of measure, unit price. So you can build it out like that, like you're doing the estimate, right? So what I would use is my actual estimate. If I'm in Excel, let's say I'm using an Excel document to do an estimate, I'm doing my quantity survey and doing all my takeoffs with that. And then I'm pricing it here. And then I can also add, you know, yes, included, no, excluded. So what I'm gonna do when I get ready to send this out, I'm gonna hide these 2 columns. If I can figure out how to hide it, but anyway, y'all know what I'm trying to do. I would hide those 2 columns so all they see is the scope description in this. And so, for instance, let's say we was talking about plumbing. So I'm gonna call this 15A plumbing. I'm gonna say I got 3/4 inch copper water line. I'm gonna have maybe a 1 inch copper water line. I got a 3 inch sanitary PVC. I got 1.5 inches. I'm just giving you all an example, okay? So what I'll do, I'll take off the entire job. So maybe the job will say all sanitary to be 12 inches below finished floor. I just made that up. But let's say you see a note. I'm copying that note, everything. So every note I see, I'm gonna just make sure, okay, what does it belong to? What category does it belong to, right? So what I'm gonna do is, like I said before, I'm hiding these 2 columns. But I'm gonna send this to the plumbing subcontractor and I'm gonna say, hey, I just want to make sure you included this scope. And they're just gonna put in an X. Yes, I included that. Yes, I included that. Yes, I included that. Yes, I included that. What if I said, okay, here's a good one right here. Cut penetrations through concrete wall. This is a great example, especially on the commercial side. I know, Zena, you probably don't deal with this too much. And most of the contractors know they're supposed to do their own through penetrations, right? But every now and then you'll get a contractor say, I'm not doing that. Well, I want to know, did they include or exclude it? So you can send this out to them to make sure you got your scope clean before you go to contract with them. At least you know up front, hey, they don't have it. They do have it. And guess what? This is what I was trying to get to earlier. When you send this to them, you all gonna say, thank you, Mike, I promise. When you send this to them, Danielle, this is what happened. In the middle of the job, somebody in the field is gonna say, oh, we didn't include that. Oh, we don't do that. And then guess what? Oh, not only is it in your contract, but I have this document that y'all signed off at the beginning of the job saying that you did include it. So now you have receipts. you have additional proof that they agreed that they had it. That's why it's important. So like I said,
That's good.
Thank you, son. Just take the drawings. I promise y'all I didn't pay him to say that. All right, just take the drawings, okay? Go through all the notes, categorize them, okay? Just like I was saying, categorize them. So let's say maybe you have the same condition not only for the plumber, but maybe you also have the same condition for your mechanical contractor, HVAC. So you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna hide what cells you don't need, and you're gonna email over the spreadsheet and say, hey, check off and have them sign it. Check off what you included and what you excluded. That was good. That was worth the price of admission. That was worth the price of admission, y'all.
That's good too, because I never looked at the pricing for stuff like this. So to give me a better idea of when they give me the quote or the bid, not the bid, but the quote, that it's in line with somewhat what I'm familiar with. In my contract with my subcontractors, I put in there that all works is to the plans. So that's like my catch-all in case, you know, I miss something individual in the SAL or something.
Yeah. I mean, so the I agree with that. And I'm gonna just add to it, not take away. The challenge is sometimes it's still scope though, right? Because sometimes, and I can't think of a really good scenario or situation, but just pencil this in your brain that um there are certain situations that you could run into where the scope is just not clear who's responsible.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like who's really responsible in your situation. And I know this is not practical and it probably wouldn't come up. Let's say you hired a plumber and you assumed they included all the fixtures because their proposal wasn't clear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, when I sent, I'm gonna just tell you from my perspective because I'm in a different industry, market industry than you, right? If I'm doing commercial jobs, and I think one of my clients, he's not on here, Roger, he ran into this same situation, right? In my industry, I expect my plumber to carry all the materials. Well, in your space, most times you're doing labor only contracts, right? Danielle, she does that a lot, right? You're doing labor only contracts and you providing most of the materials. In the commercial space, that's rare. So sometimes when you find people that's cross over, you know, different markets, their expectation is not always going to be the same as yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy, especially when the documentation, the proposal aren't clear. What did you do to take it to the next step to verify the scope? And that either they have it or they don't. So you don't have a surprise on your face once you actually go to contract, right? Because you can hire them, contract them, and they say, oh yeah, yeah, we're doing it per plans, we're doing it per specs, we're not deviating. We just didn't include any of the materials. How about this? How about this? Here's what's even better. Well, you provided all the fixtures, but they're looking for all the hookups.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for the hoses, the connections. So who's providing that? Like it could be easily misconstrued, or we can have one expectation, like, well, that should be with the labor, the install. It's kind of
Yeah.
like with drywall. You know, I had some guys, they were like, hey, you provide the screws and the drywall and the mud and the tape. I'm like, well, what you providing? They're like, I'm here. I showed up. Right? Right? It sounds like Daniel, I see you shaking your head. So that happens. And so then you will have some labor subs. They were like, hey, we like to use a certain type of screw. We got the screws. It's in our price. But if you weren't clear on that, now you could get down the road. Now it's too late to try to figure out how you're going to cut corners to not necessarily cut corners, but how are you going to find other alternatives to absorb those expenditures? That was good, y'all. All right, I done used up all my time. I hadn't planned on going into that, but hopefully that was helpful to somebody. I hope so.
Cover your butt. All P's and Q's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so
Checklist.
yeah, back to the checklist. Let me hit one point and then we'll wrap up. All right. So give me like 3 minutes to hit a couple of other points that's on this checklist. And this is everything you're going to do before you actually start in the field. All right. So let me hit a couple other points. The last one on the bottom, we did already talk about identify long lead items, but also pre-construction operation coordination. So some of you may be doing everything yourself already. So this really doesn't impact you, but I want you to get in the habit that in the future, as you grow, your estimating team or whoever handles pre-construction will be different than those that carry the job out in the field. So what process will you put in place to coordinate the transfer information? Right? Malachi, I want you to think about this. I know, son, you're growing, you're looking for a lead, right? And as you continue to put pricing together, how are you going to transfer that information, that knowledge that you have over
Bro,
to
I
those
cannot
who want to
hear.
complete it in the field, right? So
So
low.
basically, I would look for another meet.
Just put it
So,
down. I'm about to be off in 10 minutes.
let me be,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what you're saying, right? I think that's what you're asking.
no, not specifically. So what I'm asking is specifically for the information that, let's say you work on a job, right? You do the estimate, you won the job, you got the contract. You're going through this checklist of all the things you need to do. You're going through logistics, you're planning materials, what has to be done on the job. Now you've hired somebody else that's going to carry the job out in the field. What I'm saying is you need to coordinate all the transfer information, all the
Yeah.
things you know.
Mhm.
What are you doing to transfer that knowledge, that information, that documentation over to that person in the field? I'll give you an example. Contracts, like that check sheet that we just did, where that scope check sheet, where we send it out and they say, yes, I included, excluded. You have to make sure that who's ever in the field, they have all that information, right? So you should have a coordination meeting with whoever you're working with in the field to transfer all the knowledge you have over to them. Now, those that are not doing what's called on-screen takeoffs, is very beneficial because you have a physical viewable document of what you priced. You can visually see the quantities, you can visually see what you have done as a takeoff for your pricing. I used to love to print those out and say, hey, superintendent, hey, here's our scope, here's all the things we're responsible for, here's my takeoff. So when that superintendent or the person in the field goes through that document, if I miss something, they're going to see it. They're going to say, Mike, well, you missed this because you didn't color it. You missed that. Now, if you don't have on-screen takeoff, you can print it out and just color it up like we used to do 20 years ago. Right? Just print it out on a piece of paper, get you some color pencils, color up your scope so people can actually know, okay, this is what goes here. This is, how we came up with the estimate. But what about everything else? How did you price a job? Maybe what's the production? How long you anticipate it taking? You need to be able to have a coordination meeting to transfer all of that knowledge.
Yes.
All right. So make sure that's in your checklist as well. I won't talk about constructability and third-party peer reviews today because most of you all are not really dealing with that. But let me real quickly talk about owner design standards. Owner design standards, okay? Owner design standards. What does this mean? Zena, you won't find this in your space often, but definitely if you start working for institutions, government contracting, Corey, Ryan, this will be specifically for you all that's going into government contracting, okay? Most sophisticated large private clients or large government agencies have their own design standards. That's what it's called, a design standard. What is that? Anybody know? Ryan, Corey, y'all, my commercial folks, you all know what that is? Yes, no? What is a design standard?
Yeah, it's
All right,
basically that company's standard design that usually is usually different from the national construction design, like the CSI standard designs. They have their own like specification for it, basically.
okay. Let me give you an example. Thank you for that, Corey. Let me give you an example. Paint. I guess I covered my wall up, but paint. Let's say a certain agency says we only use Sherwin-Williams and it has to be duration. But all your painters are going to use A100 or the cheapest paint Sherwin-Williams have, right? But they say that's our design standard. What if they say for drywall finish, our standard is we have level 5 finish with an orange peel texture. That's our standard. So let me help you all. Some government agencies, large, sophisticated private clients, they know exactly what they want in their building, and they have what's called a standard.
A
When you
uniform.
go, yeah, when you go to a franchise, right? And you go to a McDonald's, you go to a Burger King, you go to a
uniform.
Wendy's, right? They have a template, right? They have what's called a prototype. They have standards. You cannot deviate from those standards. Y'all with me? Everybody with me? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What happens is sometimes the architect miss including the design standards. Uh-oh. And guess what? Huh?
So he just includes the industry standards.
Right. Maybe he includes the industry standards, or maybe the architect just designed based on what they like.
Mhm.
And so what'll happen is, y'all stay with me. I promise you this is gonna save you a lot of money, a lot of headaches. What'll happen is that client expects the architect to incorporate their design standards in the drawings. And so when you get the drawings, they expect you to have priced it by their standards. So what happens, y'all, you've given a price to that client and they're expecting their standards, and now you own the job and they look around, they're like, hey, this is not how we do it. Now guess what happens? Even though you can say, okay, well, the architect never gave us the design standards, I bet you it's in your contract. Why? Because the client's smart, they're sophisticated. They want to ensure they get what they want all the time. So I'm sure it's going to be in your contract. I'm almost 100% sure. I'm willing to put money on it. I'll bet you $1. I'm not a betting man. I'm a man of the cloth, but I bet you $1. It's in your contract. Okay, so why is that important? Michael, why are you telling me this? If you don't verify that the architect included these design standards in the drawings and that you've included it in your price, you now just ate money that you never was aware you needed to have in your estimate. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. This high level stuff. So to all my folks that's looking to get in government contracting, right? I know that's a low hanging fruit. You know, Glenn, we heard from Ed Ramos with the SBA today. Let's talk about how the federal government has billions of dollars to spend. Yeah, they do. But if you're not ready to do this type of detailed work, listen, y'all, if you're not ready to incorporate these types of systems where you're checking these things, what happens is you're going to lose money faster than you can make it. So it's important to be prepared. That's why I'm giving you all this stuff. Like I don't work for federal, state, local, private, everything. So that's why I'm giving you these steps so you can be prepared. Okay. You can be prepared before you get into it. All right. All right, y'all. Let's go into Q&A. Y'all clap it up. Was that good? I think that was good.
That was great.
I think
That was good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on the Q&A. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to take maybe 15 minutes. So usually that's about 3 or 4 questions. I want to go to Danielle's question. I know she had a question in regards to the issue with, was it an employee or was it a subcontractor?
It was a subcontract.
Subcontractor, yeah. So my question would be, your subcontract, do you have a subcontract in place with them or no?
Not with him, but he was contracted by my subcontractor.
Oof.
So it was my drywall trade. So my drywall trade is the
Yeah.
finishers and mutters, and
Yeah,
he contracts out his
Yeah.
hangers and framers.
I got it. So I would encourage you all, first of all, that whoever you hire, you place in your subcontract language around drugs and alcohol being prohibited from the job site, first of all. You can also put a clause that you can have drug and alcohol testing. On, you can put that in your subcontract, right? That their staff and subcontractors are subject to alcohol and drug testing if it's suspected. Okay, if it's suspected, and you got to have proof of it because you don't want to get into a lawsuit. All right, but so what you would do is, let's say you have a situation where you suspect somebody. The first thing is I'm going to most likely throw them off the job, like right off the bat. So you don't have to have no argument with them about it. You don't have to try to get their story. Just throw them off the job. But it's really important if you want to be contractual and make sure everything is clean from a legal standpoint. You should have something like that in your contract. Like Disney, they say in their contract you cannot have any firearms or ammunition in your possession or in your vehicle on any of their property.
Yeah.
So even though having a gun is legal, if they find a gun or even bullets in your possession or in your vehicle, you will never be able to step on their property ever again in life. So if you want to be that stringent, you can be. That's your contract. Now, will some people probably have a hard time signing it? Maybe, maybe not. But that's your right. So now that you've had this situation, you're aware of it, you're alert, make sure it's in your subcontract, what your expectations are, and make sure that you state this also should govern them, their suppliers, and their subcontractors. So that means contractually they're responsible. So what you could do, you could go to them and say, hey, we noticed this. You need to remove this person off our job. Okay. That's the first thing you should do. That's the best practice. You need to remove this person off the job. This is a breach of contract. Okay. If they don't want to do anything, or let's say they're not on site, then you can address the person and say, hey, we don't allow this on the property. You have to go. And I'll just say this to anybody. If it's your job, it's your job site, period. Like, and this is kind of sidebar, even people I don't like the way they talk to me, I've had a recent incident, just like within the past month. I have a subcontractor, matter of fact, the same company I used to work for about 18 years ago. You say, well, how you did that? Because, yeah, I was double dipping. Actually, it was 2002 to 2004 I was there. So 22 to 20 years ago. So it went 18. But anyway, I was just getting ready to start ACY, and I had actually worked for the same company. But anyway, they had a guy come to my job, and he was very derogatory. He talked to me like I was his child. And you're my subcontractor, and I'm the prime. And I promise you, he reminded me of somebody that was probably at the Capitol on January the 6th. And so over and over again, he kept like talking to me like in a condescending way. And I told his boss, I said, we got on the phone call. I won't forget it. We got on the phone call. This guy again wants to speak up and start talking to me crazy. I told his boss, I said, Bobby, I don't want this guy ever to talk to me again. I don't want him on my job, period. You have the right and authority not to put up with anything you don't want to put up with. It's your job. So especially all my ladies that are on the call, you are running these job sites. Zena, I think you posted something about something like this recently, but like, and you all out there, no, those people need to respect you. Period. So
Yeah, it's so funny. One of the contractors, he was just like, "You seem so nice." He was like, "But you a Tasmanian devil." And I was like, "No, I'm just particular, and I want things to go a certain way." And you know, you respect how I want my job to go, and we gonna keep doing more work together. So it was funny, you know, because perception is totally different than reality.
Right,
Um,
that part.
especially when you're stressing me out about my schedule. So
Right, that
but
part.
it's a lot to establish authority as a woman on the site, because you get undermined as soon as you step on. Like they're just
Yep.
like, well, you're the person running this, and it's
Right.
like, yeah. And
Right.
you know, you could just see the wheels turning in their head, how they just gonna try and slack off, but
Right.
you know, you stay on top of them, you know. So
Yes. Right. Well, Danielle, do you experience that at all, where, you know, being in this industry where some people maybe don't respect your authority, or, you know, when you ask them for certain things, they push back because you're a woman?
I haven't, not in that respect. I think I have a great relationship with my male trades. One of the things that I struggle with, I mean, from a respect level, and like, you know, they call me boss lady and they get my jobs done. But my issue is like, because I don't know more than them in the trade, I was always subjected to what they tell me.
Yeah.
This is how it has to be done. And so that was my Achilles heel in the business of just learning the hard way. And so
Yeah.
bringing in my dad to run field operations, and he's only been here 2 weeks, has been such a godsend, because they can't get over on him like they get over on me, just with process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I experienced that when I first came out of school as well. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and they'll tell you anything. And that's why it's so important to get really good people. Like, people that's honest, people that's fair, people that's going to do it right. Because if you get somebody that's going to, you know, pull a scam, you know, try to get over, and you don't know, so they're going to just take advantage of your ignorance. And we all have to learn at some point, right? And so there's things you don't know. And that's why I think my growth in the industry is because I was a sponge. And I want to encourage all of you to be a sponge. Just like, ask so many questions to get your answers, and, you know, learn as you grow, and as you out there on the jobs, like, ask the people that installing all the questions you want, just because that's helping you to be more prepared for the next job. Okay. So yeah, to your point, Danielle, that's very, very true. It happens all the time. That is just a growth pain. And as you continue to grow in that, you'll find out when you start knowing more and doing better, then you be like, no, we're not doing it that way, because I know I'm right. And, you know, even in the prime of my business, I used to have older superintendents that would argue with me. And I'm like, okay, I heard what you said, and I don't even mind you disagreeing with me. But guess what? Sometimes it's more than one way to do something. And because I'm paying for this, you got to do it my way. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm going to pay for it, right? And you still getting paid. So I'm okay with that. You still getting paid, and I'm gonna have to
now
pay for
that
it.
was worth the price of admission tonight, because that is
Okay.
a struggle. That is a struggle that I have with my father, because he knows more than me, and he's coming
Yeah,
from Ohio with his expertise as a GC there. But I know how to run a business. So we struggle with operations versus business management. But now I can say that I know you probably know more than me, but it's my money. We doing it my way.
yeah, that's right.
Thank you for
And
that.
if you're wrong, you know, and then I say, well, if I'm wrong, you know, you have the right, after we find out I'm wrong, to tell me I told you so, and I'm good with that. But right now, because I'm the owner, my name's on it, my money's on it, we got to do it the way I think is right. And, you know, I'll tell you honestly, it's about a 50-50 draw. Sometimes you're gonna be wrong, sometimes you're gonna be right. Yeah. All right. So did I answer your question, Danielle? Did I answer your question? Perfect. All right. Anybody else? Come on, y'all. Let's run through this quick. Any other questions? Any other questions? It doesn't have to be specific to what we talked about tonight. Any other questions?
Well, Will you be reviewing, or is there another type of challenge or something like that for residential to move from residential to commercial? Because
Okay.
that's pretty much where I am.
Okay.
And you know, in this season, like I want to move away from residential and get into commercial. And I
Yeah.
just want to know the best way to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So I think I've covered that probably in some of the previous challenges, and I know you bought VIP. So you can actually, you should have access already. And you can go back to April's challenge and June's
okay.
challenge. So I'm gonna give you some answers tonight, some quick answers. All right. So this will be recorded. So you'll have this as well. Um, I think one of the things that everybody struggles with is my S3 framework, sales, strategy, and systems. Your issue is a strategy issue. What is
Mhm.
the strategy to move from residential to commercial? What's the strategy? So let's work through this. Anybody else need this as well? Let's talk about it. What's the strategy? So what's the first thing you need? Because you know most of the answers already. You sophisticated. I already could tell. What's the first thing you need? Come on. You
Let
gotta
me
talk.
see. Hold on, let me get my notes together. Pre-construction?
Okay,
No.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The inspection or site investigation?
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
it's all right. I'm okay with your answers. Okay, Zena, come back off mute if you can. I want you to think about if you're moving from residential to commercial, what's the first thing you need?
General market pricing, right?
No, y'all give me a second.
Money. You need
I,
money.
Right.
I, I would
What you
think
was
a
gonna say,
business
Zena?
plan. I was just going to say, I would think a business plan and networking, because that's from what I've experienced thus far. That's how a lot of jobs are done, like networking who you know.
Oh,
And then the other thing that I was thinking is having some type of certification to be able to be competitive to get these contracts, because more than likely I will be a sub of another contractor, a bigger contractor,
Okay.
but
So
I'm
so
floundering. I
no,
don't
no, no,
know.
no, no, no. I appreciate the floundering and everybody's throwing out. Listen, y'all, we family. And I know some of you all don't know the answers, but I'm trying to get you to think. Because guess what? I'm not going to be there with you 24/7. And so if I don't get you to stimulate your thinking, right, I'm not always around. So I wanted you to think a little bit. Okay, so here's the shorter answer. You hit on one nugget, the networking piece. But you have to identify who do you want to work for. So what I teach in strategy, and another thing you mentioned, a business plan, I call it a strategic plan. You should have a strategy on where you're going and why you're going there. So when you go back, Zena, through those previous challenges, you're going to see I talk about identifying your ideal client. For those that's part of our group coaching, so if you're on our foundation mentorship or elevate, right, you are part of the group coaching sessions that we have twice a month. I talk about this like at least 3 or 4 times. How do you identify your ideal client? So you have to identify, do I want to do federal government? Do I want to do state government? Do I want to do local government? Do I want to do private corporation? Right? Zena mentioned certification. So I know that there are what's called minority business enterprise certifications. Do I need to become certified as a minority owned business? I prefer the word diverse. Diverse owned business in order to have opportunities for, you know, government work or private work. So also, Zena, in those 3-day challenges for April and June, I talk about how uh, the Florida State Minority Development Council here locally, and there's another organization up where you are located that operates through the National Minority Supply Development Council. Um, they are helping companies work with private corporations. So your Coca-Cola, you know, NASCAR, your energy companies that are there locally. A lot of times your hospitals are a part of this organization. Like down here, Entertainment District, Universal, Disney. So a lot of your major corporations, they feed into this national council and they look for diverse suppliers. And that's a way to meet those people. So you have to have a strategy. So what's going to be your marketing strategy to get in front of these people that do commercial work? So I'm gonna tell you all, no different than me getting into the consulting space. I experienced this, get into the consulting space. What we don't realize as contractors is how long it takes to build a relationship and to get in front of people in order to get that first contract. What we ignore, especially in the commercial space, that sometimes it takes years to get a relationship in order to get a contract. And I think that's the misnomer. So for Danielle, Zena, I'm not sure who else is in the residential side. For those of you that are trying to cross over, you need to plan some time in building those relationships and building a roadmap. I call it a strategic plan. Now, you know, if you're part of our VIP or elite, I help you work through that strategy. Okay, help you work through a 3-year strategic plan and a strategy in order to say, okay, what I'm going to do 2025, this is what I'm going to do next. These are the people I've identified that I want to work for. What's my steps in order to get in front of them? So maybe you have to pre-qualify through their website to become a vendor. Or maybe there's a bid that they have that you have to submit a bid on and try to bid. Or maybe there's a request for a proposal and you have to demonstrate your capabilities. So you have to do all of that market research. You have to do, what's up, Roger? I was talking about you earlier. So if you watch the replay, don't be mad. Anyway, so you have to do all that market research to identify, okay, what's my path? What's the low-hanging fruit? Where's the opportunity? Okay, so once you identify that, then you can come up with a plan in order to do it. Okay, so if somebody say, Michael, what's your professional opinion for me to cross over? I would say it depends. It depends. What does it depend on? It depends on your current experience and your actual resume. What do you mean by that? I recommend everybody should be completing project sheets. What is that? You're displaying like a resume. You're displaying your experience with pictures, with information. You know, I have templates for that. What's your project size? What did you complete on the job? When it was completed? What was the budget? Was there any change orders? You know, who was the client, right? Did they give you a review? Before and after pictures, right? Completion pictures. So you create these sheets for the projects that you've done and you build a history. So this is my strategy, and I want y'all to get this. And I talk a lot more about this in the previous 3-day challenges. You want to leverage your resume in order to break into doing the same type of work in a different industry. So Zena, let's say for instance, you know, you did a remodel in a home. That home's 3,000 square feet. The remodel consisted of all the drywall, the flooring, all the fixtures, all the painting, right? You did complete remodel, gut, whatever. Well, what's the difference between that and doing it in a commercial space? It's still flooring, it's still drywall, still paint. And so what I try to show people is how to leverage their resume and what they've done in order to show other clients, hey, I've done this. Maybe I haven't done it in a Walgreens or in a retail strip plaza, but it's still the same work. And so the way you position what you've done with your resume is really, really key and important. So I talk a lot about how I jumped from K through 12 to higher education. Then I went to not only retail, but healthcare, went to aviation, all these different markets within the construction industry. and I expanded, leveraging my resume, showing people, hey, I've done this before, just in a different market. So it's really all of that it takes to move from residential to commercial. But the first thing is to come up with a plan, to come up with a strategy, identify your ideal client. I always tell people, find who has the money, right? Because you don't want to do one and dones. I always recommend you look for people that can give you repeat business. That's an ideal client, somebody that can not only hire you once, but they can hire you over and over again, right? That's how you build growth capacity, right? So those are some things you should be creating a list of your avatar, creating a list of who your ideal client is, so you can, okay, who fits into this category, and then pursue them. Start working on the relationship. Start working on, hey, how you doing? I met you at this event. I met you at this networking function. Leveraging associations that you can join, be a part of, whether it's your local chambers, whether it's trade associations, right? And you start networking with these individuals and you find out, hey, that's marketing. Now you get in front of them, and people do business only with those they like, know, and trust.
Yep. Can you repeat the name of that national
NMSDC.
I'm sorry, one more time?
NMS. My wife will drop the link in the chat. NMSDC. NMSD. You're in DC?
No, I'm in New Jersey, but I
New
do
Jersey.
projects in Philadelphia and in Chicago.
Okay, I'm gonna put it up on the NMSDC. So I push this organization a lot because they are the gateway to large private corporations. And so those that attended the summit, it should be some up here, local chapters. So those that attended the summit recognize that all of the large contractors that were there, they actually do majority of private work. See, you got a lot of people out here on social media be like, government contracting, government contracting, government contracting. Like, yeah, that's the low hanging fruit. That's where you can maybe get in. But most really established and successful contractors, they do more private work than government work. And so I like to say, do a little bit of both, so you can continue to get all the work you need, and so you can grow. Okay, so let me see if I'm gonna just, you can probably Google it, I'm sure, but I'm sure they have a chapter up there in New Jersey.
Do you also recommend looking and bidding for jobs on Blue Book?
Sure, absolutely. Here you go.
Thank you.
So once you join this, you can become MBE certified here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure where they're meeting out of, but you can go to this page and research it more. Oh, they in New York. What's that, about an hour and a half for you?
It's about an hour. Yeah, they moved all of the certification to New York, no matter where you are in the US. So I'm not sure how that timeline will be, but
Yeah.
I know that they had did that, like, I think that the end of June.
Okay, so this is specific for this organization. Um, you know, I mentioned some of the corporations that are part of this organization. So if you're looking to start working with large private corporations, I always push people, especially in our community, to go this route first.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right, y'all. So hopefully that answered your question, Zena. Like, listen, I'm sure I'll be able to answer your question over a period of time, whether or not you part of the paid members mentorship or not. Like, I do so many pop-up Q&As. I try to infill them in between our paid events, but yeah, y'all get what you need, wherever you are. Okay.
I see you pop up in my email that you live doing the Zoom, and I'm like, oh man, I'm in a work meeting.
Yeah,
And
I
like
know.
I was
I
me
know.
trying to, join everything. But I appreciate you putting this stuff out there.
Yeah. So listen, y'all, tomorrow we're going to go into, we talked about some of the things like pre-construction side. Let's talk about the construction side once we're in the job. Like, what are some of the things you need to look for? So today during our group coaching session, I was actually talking about daily reports and how daily reports are important to help you protect yourself from discrepancies, disputes, how you're able to document what's happening in the field, right? Because, I forgot what we did back in February, but my paperwork didn't, right? So documenting what was the weather like. If you had delays on the job and the client's like, hey, why are you a month late? You told me when we hired you that you were going to be done in 3 months. Why did it take 4? Well, I have paper documentation of all the rain delays that we experienced that pushed the job out. Or maybe we had an issue with you not actually selecting the material that we needed on the job, and you took 2 weeks to make up your mind. I documented it, all of that in my daily reports, right? Any issues I had with my subcontractors, any safety issues that we had, any direction that we had in the field, if we had inspections and we failed or we passed, or I'm documenting all of that stuff in a daily report. And so it's really important that you kind of identify what are the things I need to make sure we have during the construction process so we can be successful. And as you start building these tools for your toolkit, right, it will help you be more successful as you grow, right? So I'm showing you, I'm preparing you how to be a large general contractor, trade contractor, it doesn't matter. I want to show you how you can expand your skill set, right? Not to just do what you're doing, okay? So any last questions, then I'm going to pray over you. It's my practice. I believe in God. I believe without him, everything that we're doing is meaningless. So if you all don't
Question,
mind,
are you going to go over mentoring your programs?
I hadn't planned on it, but since you brought it up,
Well, you said that in the beginning you would.
I did. I sure did.
You did.
Forgive me. Count it as love, as they say. I'm tired, y'all. Eyes tired, boss. Eyes tired. Okay, let me get back to my screen. Let me pull it up. I'll pull it up. Give me a second. All right. Any other questions before I get to that? All right. Here it comes.
Come on. Hello.
Hey, Roger, mute yourself if you can.
I was about to ask you a question.
Oh, go ahead, bro. I thought you was on the phone.
Yeah. Oh, well, how you doing, anyways? My question is there a type of language or terminology to use, like if you are doing work for a general contractor, just say the work is outside of your scope, but it more so falls like in the general contractor scope, and you can more so and you can provide at least the manpower for it.
Yeah.
Is there like is there something like that exists in the industry?
Oh, bro.
And if so, what it's called?
So an agreement is an agreement.
Okay,
It's not a name for that. That's called somebody carved out scope for you. Okay. So listen, bro, they can call it whatever they want. If it has money tied to it, give me the contract, we good. All right, what do you mean by that, Michael? I know I say that jokingly. So anybody want to know a strategy I use to grow? Anybody? I know we had some people drop off, but let me give you all this strategy I use to grow. So I believe that I should partner with other larger contractors. I believe that I should do my own work as a CM and sub it all out. I believe that I should be the prime and also maybe sub some of the work myself or do some of the work myself. And then I also believe that I should be a JV partner with somebody else as well. And then lastly, with the piece of self-performing, I believe everybody on this call at some point in time should learn how to self-perform work. Okay, so that brings you multiple revenue streams into your business. You have different types of products that's coming into your business, different profit margins. Okay. Now, this is what I did, Roger. And I actually stumbled upon this, and some of you have heard this before. I actually started what's called general trade services. General trade services. I had a construction manager. It was Robinson Morton, a large commercial contractor on a hospital. I had never done healthcare before. They said, Michael, you gave us a price for the door hardware install and this other item. They wanted me to price all of their general requirements, meaning they had a man hoist, they had a material hoist, they had trash chutes that came off of the fourth floor. They wanted us to build all of their temporary railings and staircases to go up each level, all the safety barricades. We also had to do, because they were adding floors, and once they poured the fourth level, we had to put safety rails all the way around the whole building. They included all that because they wanted to operate as a pure CM, meaning they wanted to sub everything out. All they was doing was handling paper. So they didn't want to have to hire anybody on their payroll to do physical labor in the field. So they said all these things, we can't really find one company that really does that for a living. So we want to hire a smaller GC to actually take care of all of that. And we put in one big contract and give it to you. That was a $2 million job. I'll take it. Right? Malachi, was you on that job? Point Sienna Medical Center? I think you did go out there for a little while.
I did.
Right? Point Sienna Medical Center. So that happened on that job. And then I did another one. And then I did another one. Then I started doing general trades work. So what am I telling you? Like, if you find somebody you have a relationship with and they're giving you scope and you can make money on it, take it. Because guess what? They're giving you instant growth. And guess what's going to happen, Roger? You're going to learn that, and then you're going to be able to replicate what you did there with another client similar to them.
Yeah.
Man, if I was you, if you're able to make money on it, eat it up. Why? Because people do business with those they like, know, and trust. So they like you, they trust you, especially you giving them good pricing. Yeah. And if you're making money, now if you're not making money, leave it alone. But if you're making money, all day. Did that help you?
Yeah.
All right, back to Danielle, and this is the last thing, y'all, unless I got somebody that's like really itching to get a question answered. All right, can you all see this? So I have 4 different levels, 4 different levels currently, and this is always changing. So if you see this today and it's different in a month, don't be mad. Because actually Roger just helped me with the Elevate mentorship. He actually just helped me with that because we didn't have that until about a month ago. Okay. And so Elevate mentorship is the second level. So we have Foundation, Elevate, VIP, and Elite. Okay. And so all the pricing has changed ever since the summit. So we rolled most of this out during the summit, and then after the summit, we added the Elevate mentorship. Okay, so let me kind of explain what it is. The foundation level is basically where normally you could start. So let's say you're doing less than $200,000 a year in revenue, or maybe you just starting, right? I would recommend foundation mentorship for you. It's $147 a month. You are able to participate in my bi-monthly group coaching. So not only are you coming or available to come to all the live sessions, but you get all the replays that we've done since 2023, the end of 2023. All right. So I have two course portals. It's like an online course. I'm sure some of you all have heard of online courses before. We have a construction encounter business course, which I call our revenue disruptor mentorship program, that has all of the group coachings in there. And then we have how to scale your business course, which kind of helps you work through, developing some of your operational systems. What I find in our industry, a lot of us don't have systems in place. We don't have documentation in place. So I help you kind of work through that at your own pace, on your own. Okay. So that's what's included, $147 a month, right? So twice monthly group coaching, replays, all right, self-guided templates, videos, the two courses, okay? All right, so it's plenty of content in there. So you pay as long as you want access. All right, you pay as long as you want access. All right, so when you don't want access no more, you stop paying. All right. Now, okay, and then the next one is Elevate mentorship. So what we're doing here, we're adding done for you internal documents. Done for you internal documents. I don't have the complete list, but if you want the list of the documents we provide, I'll give you some examples. We're giving you your subcontract. We're giving you your purchase order. We're giving you a 500 some page safety manual. We're giving you process maps, right? So why is all this important? So when you have staff and a team and you don't have any of this stuff in place, you already have it, right? We just did Rogers. It's gonna have your logo on it. Your name company is already ready to go. All right, so we'll be able to get this for you, done for you. Okay. Hold on a second. Oh, there she goes. She got it. All right, so it's a whole list of documents. I think it's probably, I don't know, at least 30 documents roughly that we prepare for you. So you'll get all of that, plus you still continue in the group coaching as well. But then we added a monthly one-on-one with me. So what I noticed is that people, I know Danielle was asking for this a while back ago. Hey, Mike, I just want to do a one-on-one with you. All right, so now we're giving you one hour one-on-one. Okay, so that's included. So it's $750 one time. That helps us pay for getting the documents done, right? And then it's $247 a month. So basically you pay that roughly $500 extra to get your documents done. I think that's a steal, right? And then you pay an extra $100, to meet me, right? I think I'm giving it away. All right, so y'all better get it while it's cheap. All right, so right, so then you pay $750 one time, then $247 a month. All right, so that's Elevate. All right, VIP. Now, I have a criteria for VIP and Elite. VIP and Elite, you need to do at least $250,000 a year before you qualify for this. So you get the first level, the second level, but then we add what's called fractional HR, CFO, and marketing services for 12 months. So let's say you're starting to grow, you need a team, right? We'll actually hire your staff. We'll hire up to 4 staff people for you. Like we'll recruit them, provide you their resumes, help you set up the interview so you can interview them. We'll even coach you through the interviews. We'll help you with your personality assessments, all of that, right? We'll even onboard them and train. All of that's included in this. Okay. Your CFO services. So some of you all don't know how to read financial statements. We'll help you when you're trying to plan how to grow your business, how to grow your company. Okay. We'll have a CFO. It'll be somebody else that we outsource. Okay. That's trusted. That's going to be secure with your information, confidential with your information, that will meet with you, that will help you plan and forecast your cash flow needs. When you know, hey, Some of you all wait till your bank account get low. Well, a CFO will be able to read your financials and know months ahead of time, hey, you need to go infuse some more capital in your business, or you need to go collect on what's due, or you need to go get some more projects, right? So you'll have a CFO meeting with you monthly to go through those types of things, okay? And then also marketing services. So we'll do a content day with you where we'll shoot an introduction video, help you with any ads that you want to do as well. So that's kind of part of the fractional services. And you may say, well, Michael, I'm not trying to hire anybody right now. What we'll allow you to do is to use a point system so you can a la carte what you need. That's a new thing that we just added, right? Because I've been getting feedback over time. And some people will say, well, Michael, I'm not hiring anybody, but I may need my website done. I may not need a website. I may not need marketing, but I need somebody to help me get my book set up right. So what we're going to allow you to do is to use points towards what you need. You may say, I don't need any fractional, but I need more one-on-one time with you. So you're able to use your points however you need it. I really like that. I think we'll see how it works. All right. And so that's VIP. And so 6 months at $2,000, but you're in the program and you get services for 12 months. All right. 6 months at $2,000 a month, but you're in the program for 12 months. All right. And then our elite mentorship, you get everything I just talked about. Plus, we're gonna match you with a major corporation for a mentor protege program. Okay, so the plan is to get you opportunity ready. So the plan is, hey, once you finish the program or sometime during the program, that you actually get a contract opportunity with that corporation. So that major corporation could be any large corporation. We're talking about companies that's doing more in excess of 50 million a year, easy, okay? So we're gonna partner you. So I don't wanna start throwing out names, but we'll partner you with someone else. In addition to everything you get with us, you also get mentored by a major corporation for 12 months, all right? I know all of this is a steal. So again, that's 6 months at $3,000 a month. Now, I know during the summit time, we was running kind of an offer if you broke it down into 2 months or 3 months. We can talk about that if anybody's interested. Oh, I forgot the VIP day. And then those that's kind of operating at a high level, I know these are typically larger companies. If you want to bring my wife and I in and we actually spend time with you, your whole entire team, go through strategic planning with you and your team, actually get you up and running and pointing in the right direction. We'll actually do some content, everything with you that whole day. It's a $5,000 VIP day. So if you're interested in that, you can let us know. So that's everything we offer as far as packages. We do have some a la carte stuff. So if you need HR help, just stand alone. We do a la carte, all of these different services. Okay, so just let us know what you need.
And
Right.
and that the foundation one that I planned on starting with, it said bi-monthly. Is that when we do the coaching, or is it bi-weekly? Is it bi-monthly?
No, so it's bi-monthly. So it's twice a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it probably should say twice monthly instead of bi-monthly. It's
I
twice.
got you.
So 2 times a month, and we already have those dates. They're on the website somewhere, but we already have those dates for our group coaching sessions. So that's for our group coaching. Group coaching means it's more people on than just you, but you still get to ask any questions that you may have during that time as well. Usually that session is about an hour, sometimes an hour, 15 minutes, depending on what we're talking about. The one-on-one is different. Okay, so the one-on-one, that's just my time specifically with you exclusively. And that's why that's in the next level, the Elevate program. Make sense? Questions. Cool. All right. If no other questions, oh, I missed the chat. All right. Cool. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I don't see the chat, but thank you all. All right, let me pray over you. Father, we say thank you for this opportunity to learn more about the construction business tonight. I pray that everybody that was on learned something that was beneficial, something they can implement into their business. And I pray, God, that you will bless their business, increase them, enlarge their territories. God, you have us all here for a purpose. Let us walk in it. Let us thrive in it. Touch their footsteps, open up doors for opportunities, expand their minds and their hearts for growth and everything that you have for them. God, I pray against the forces of darkness that would try to bring discouragement, that would try to bring doubt or disbelief in what you're able to do through them. And I just say thank you, God, for blessing them and the fruits of their labors. Bless them financially, that their entire families can be blessed. And we say thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, family. We'll see y'all tomorrow night, 6:30. Let's see you all tomorrow night. All right. God bless you.
All right. Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.